So the mics are on. I'm just changing screen right now when it does it. There we go. Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome to the Azalea Cult, episode 17. As always, with Jim from Fab TCG Cards. How's it going, sir?
All good, man. It's been a little while. It's good to be back.
Yeah. It's because Azalea became good and the cult basically disbanded for a while. That's basically what the rumours are. So
it's going underground, deeper than the pits for a little bit.
That's right, yeah. Everyone was like,
"Oh, hold on, echo."
I heard myself bellowing on there. But yeah, there was a bit. Yeah, nice. But people was like, "Oh yeah, Azalea Cult's disappeared now that she's become good." She definitely hasn't. It's definitely not the case. We were just waiting for the right moment to strike, and here we go with Jake. What better way to return than to have Pro Tour 8 Baltimore contender in the Azalea Cult? Cheers for joining us, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Just recovering still from last week. It's been a bit of a blur.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Jet lag a little.
Yeah. That was what an event though. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. And whoever's watching this now or in the future, it's going to be a great episode today. Just delving into the mind of the Baker, the Jake the Baker Warburton, which I thought was an interesting nickname that all the commentators were running with as well. I'm not sure whether you've watched a lot of it back, but
yeah, I did watch the game, and my friends from the local was sort of whispering in their ear, trying to get them to say that nickname, because it's never been a nickname for me until about 2 weeks before. They bought me a T-shirt with the nickname on the back just because of the love for bread Warburtons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know the joke, Jim? Are you familiar with Warburtons?
I don't think I do. You might want to explain it. Maybe there's others that don't either.
Yeah. So I think. Go on, Jake. You do it.
Oh, I was going to say. There's a brand of bread called Warburtons, and that's my surname. So people like to pretend that I'm also a baker and make the bread.
Brilliant.
It's fantastic. Classic British style stuff.
That's a cool connection.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, thanks for joining us today, and I think there's no better way than to start this off than sort of asking like who you are, your history, and your background in sort of gaming and TCGs in general. Like where do we start with Jake the Baker, and go from there.
Yeah. So this is my first paper card game actually. I first started playing online card games with Hearthstone about nearly 10 years now.
Wow.
And then moved through the ranks of those different ones: Hearthstone, Gwent, Artifact, Legend of Runeterra. And then what happened was there was a bit of a bad meta in the one I was playing, Runeterra. And then I was watching streamers, Margin Bay and Alan.
Yeah.
And Margin Bay was mentioning he played a paper game, Flesh and Blood, and the meta's good in that, and urging people to give it a go if they had a chance. So I found that my locals had Flesh and Blood players, so I went down and checked it out, and I really liked it after a few weeks.
Awesome. What's your local then?
Cool card.
So my local is Gemini Games in Huddersfield.
Cool, sweet. Shout them out then. Gemini Games, Huddersfield. If you're watching this now or in the future, go down there if you're in the area. So Huddersfield is just a bit of geography for people that are non-UK. Huddersfield is sort of north United Kingdom, isn't it?
Yep, between Manchester and Leeds.
Between Manchester and Leeds. And that's I think for the UK as well, that is a massive hub of Flesh and Blood is up north, especially Leeds, because they're the ones at Living Realms that do all of the event organising over here pretty much. That's where the calling's going to be in Birmingham. They're organising it, aren't they? Living Realms. So you're going to that as well, is that right? Hopefully?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go to that. Not got my tickets yet, but
nice.
Yeah, wouldn't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be interesting as well because it's going to be... Is it going to be after the next set? I think it is, isn't it? It's going to be after the next...
I think it's... Yeah, that's a couple of weeks. I think it's the first big thing after. Yeah. So it should be quite interesting.
So the devil will return, Prism will return, ALS will come back. Can't wait for that. Fun times. But yeah,
So I have a quick question. Just because you mentioned this was your first paper card game, and then you did a lot of the card games before that. Did you do any other gaming, like video gaming or etc. in the past? Do you have what would be your favorite? I'm just curious because a lot of Flesh and Blood players have come from an gaming background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of online card games, I like Dota too. So that one. I'm not much of a shooter guy, but I could play Counter-Strike occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All crosses over, doesn't
I
it?
think everybody might have dabbled in Counter-Strike at one point or another.
Yeah. Nice. That was Diablo for me. Diablo was like the main sort of crossover. A lot of people played Diablo, and yeah.
So ready for 4 coming very soon.
That's
Actually,
right.
there's a preview again next weekend. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, off the rails straight away. But yeah, there's loads of bleed. There's loads of bleed over from gaming in general into this game, and I think Flesh and Blood has got a great foundation because of the fact it's hero centric. You choose a character that you resonate with, and you just go from there, and that's where the love is, I think, for a lot of us. But when did you start playing Azalea, Jake? Because obviously, when I met you at the Leeds. What was it? That wasn't a calling, was it? That was
Hardened.
That was it. It was Battle Hardened. Yeah, I met you then, and you were playing Icelander then. So why Azalea now? And why did you pick her up now?
Basically, Icelander cannot beat the Rangers. She always had a bad matchup into Lexi, but this new set, and she loses hypothermia, an amulet of ice, and then this set comes out, and it's just like the nail in the coffin. It's very one-sided. So Azalea's sort of not the same style, but it's more control-y. You've got disruption. You've got things that like say you must block this, or give me some cards out your hand. And I like that kind of style where it's interactive. It says like, we're not going to go 5 cards and then you 5 cards and then me 5 cards and then keep doing that. There's going to be some back and forth. So there's a bit of a crossover in that style. It's not the same, but
yeah, so
enjoy that.
It's less of a race and more of like a trading back and forth between valuable cards and stuff like that, isn't it? And you, like as you say, you must block this and forcing cards from hand unless they get an on hit and all that sort of stuff, which is nice.
Trying to take tempo back and forth, basically.
Yeah.
And do you think Icelanders failed a lot recently because of the amount of seek and destroy-esque effects like the inertia and the other stuff like that? Because there's a lot of lace with cards as well, lace of inertia, sedation shot, keeping people away from their arsenals. Do you think that's also a pivotal thing towards that as well?
Yeah, that's a big thing. So you can run 6 sedation, 6 seek and destroy effects in the laces, and then you've got sedation shot, which is 9, and then the best style of Icelander was wounded bull. So you've got your physical attacks, and then you'll play something from your arsenal if you have an arsenal. Then they'll play Codex of Frailty and force you to put an attack back in, and then you lose a card, so you're just taking 1,000,000 damage. And then you've got a scar for 3 back. Impressive.
Codex
completely turns off that playstyle. Wizard.
Nice, fantastic. And what would you say your favourite thing is about Azalea? What do you like the most about the hero? You probably just said it and covered it with the interactability, but is there anything else at all apart from that?
I really like how the hands flow, because you've got your cross wrap. You set your arsenal up, you cross wrap. You get to see the top card, or you get to change your arsenal. You can arsenal anything you want and then just change it for something with go again, and then use Death Dealer and have card advantage through using Death Dealer, and the hands just flow like water, really. It's interesting to play out.
Yeah. It's one of those decks as well, like when you master it, when you get all the cycles going, it does feel really nice to actually play and draw on cards and put cards down and flip them up and see what the next thing is. That's what I think drew a lot of us to begin with, is all of that style as well, like playing with your actual cards, right, and seeing cards and stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
definitely. This could be a controversial one. Who do you think is the best Azalea player?
Gotta be Levi. I can't say his last name. Levi Rauch.
Levi Rauch, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll get to your list eventually, but I noticed it's pretty close to what he had last run.
Yeah, because we were actually talking in Discord. I was in the Purple Discord in the Azalea chat often, and he would mention things in there, and then I'd started DMing about the list before Pro Tour, and we ended up on a few cards different, but I think he maybe got unlucky with the matchups, and I got very lucky with the matchups. So,
yeah. I mean, we can get to that in a bit, because I think it could be I think is a pivotal thing as to what you run into. Because obviously Azalea does have some big weaknesses, which we can obviously get to as well when we get to the matchup section. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good that you say that, because Levi's been on here as well, and yeah, I think he's was the pioneer of many decks of Azalea. He was the first one to really sort of lead the charge with regards to how good Azalea could be, and that was even before Dynasty cards came out, before Drill Shot existed, before all that sort of stuff from that set existed, Deadeye. So yeah, he was doing good work even before those cards came out and before Outsiders. And we've had also a pioneer on the channel as well with Pavel Leshuk, who was running an OTK Azalea deck, which was running tri-shots and rapid fires to basically have a huge, massive infinite combo turn against Olden's, which was interesting. And he took that to top 8 at Polish Nats last year. So we've had some great innovators on here, which is nice, and the first top 8 as well. So cheers for joining us yet again, Jake. What about this? Could also go into weaknesses. The next question, we've got basically a load of questions on this list. So if anybody's in chat now, then let us know if you've got a question. But this is a list that we've compiled so far. But where would you like to see Azalea cards go next? What further support do you think we need? And where does she struggle, or where do you struggle? So what sort of mechanics or cards do you think would be good to see going forward, perhaps?
So going forward, I think she's pretty solid with the go tall kind of strategy, and then you got Lexi on her hand who has the go wide strategy. So I think it'd be cool if Azalea could sort of explore a bit more go wide, a bit of a combination of both. I mean, the deck I was playing tries to do that, but it's not quite as efficient as Lexi does it.
Yeah,
it's cool. She has her own identity, of course, but I think it's more interesting if you've got the ability to explore not just one way to play.
Yeah.
Go wide with ring raisers and things like that.
Yeah.
I think support wise, well, I do think she's very good now, still, of course, but
Definitely.
I think they might ban Codex at some point. So I don't know if they will ban it.
You think?
I think they might, because
Even after James White's comments in the general, what he kind of addressed it a little bit, seemed to think it wasn't too much of a problem, but
I think just based on Lexi as well, if they do decide to hit something, it might be one of those cards that limits to like design space. Like I think Art of War limits design space. Just cards that clearly are very powerful.
yeah.
And when they release new cards, they have to think about what already exists. Those are the kind of cards that they have to think about.
I'm just being devil's advocate. I agree. I think if we start seeing Lexi dominating, that's probably the first card to go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they did take that away, then they would need to give Azalea some things.
Sure. Get her back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
Like the function that I use that card the most for is if you've already used Death Dealer and you say you load a Bolton Shot, you get to draw your card and you get to play all your buffs out, maybe hold back one buff, send the Bolton Shot, and then finish with the Codex, intimidate a card out of their hand, and then say send a Drill Shot for 7, that role feels like it would need filling if we were to lose Codex. Yeah, something along those lines, like getting an arrow back.
Not necessarily why, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting an arrow back of your choice. And then the ponder is just ridiculous as well.
Oh,
Gets to
gotcha.
have this massive 6-card. Yeah, 6-card turn, and then still have a 5-card turn next turn.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, it would obviously. Yeah, the deck struggles with Olden and Dromice. And they both require completely different plans and tech cards and things like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded some more popper arrows in the Outsiders. Because we've got Battering Bolt, but it's only 3 out of 80 cards, so wouldn't have minded like another set of 3 poppers for Dromai.
Yeah. Yeah, we did get some extra Ranger stuff like Death Touch and that, but it doesn't really fit, does it? Unfortunately, I think we do need some more 6-attack arrows. That would be lovely. I definitely agree with that.
Maybe Death Till Dawn, since there will be more, prism shenanigans or whatever. Maybe they'll for the Rangers they'll give us some more poppers.
Yeah, or they say drone is legal in Azalea, perhaps. Give us the drone. So we
drone Azalea.
CC drone Azalea.
Anymore for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Foggy's got a question in the chat. So, would Jake take Azalea to upcoming events, or would he play something like Lexi? If so, where is Azalea better than Lexi, and vice versa? Interesting question. Cheers, Foggy.
Wait, I think I know that guy.
Do you?
Oh,
there we go.
It might be someone I'm going to be playing RTNs with. So yeah, I'll tell the truth anyway. But I think I might stay on Azalea. I'm 50-50 between Azalea and Lexi. Just because Azalea, I think, is so much better against Lexi. Sort of, if you go into a Lexi mirror, you've got some amount of who's going first, who's going second, kind of luck to overcome, and people are going to be teching for Lexi. I don't know how far tech can take you against that deck, but Azalea definitely is a strong pick against Lexi. I don't know how many Oldims and Dromais will be, but I mean, Lexi struggles into Dromai as well. What were the other parts of the question?
So would he take something to events like say play something like Lexi? If so, where is Azalea better than Lexi, and vice versa? So would you know how Lexi is better than Azalea perhaps in certain situations, or why would you choose that instead?
Yeah, Lexi's better into Olden for sure. Just people who want to block out a lot, you have to really string together some combos with Azalea to sort of go wide, go around these defense directions, and Lexi's just like alter, shoot for 5, alter, shoot for 5, and then you kind of just leak damage across the chain. So I think that's where she's better.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, and if there's any questions you don't want to answer from chat, then if it's spoiling some spicy secret tech out there, then that's fine. But yeah, cheers, Foggy. Thanks for that. The sealed case. Is there any way to get less frames per second on your webcam? So what? Are we having an issue with my webcam? Are we? What's going on?
You're a little low on the frames per second. You're a little stuttery, but it's not terrible.
Nah, that's fine. It might be because I'm running a HD rain effect background on the stream. Maybe that's what it is, perhaps.
But you're crunching the computer, huh?
Maybe. Yeah, I think I need to get a new one. It's been a while since I've had this one now, since 2017. But maybe it's time. Cheers for that sealed case, making me evaluate my PC options. Anyway, going back onto this. Why is Azalea a good choice right now? Is a question that I had in the docket. Why is Azalea a good choice right now, Jake? Especially if you say that Dromai and Oldim's a tough situation when they're quite prevalent as well.
Yeah, she ended up being a better choice than I thought she should be, actually, because there was a lot of Lexis, and most of my matchups were Lexis, so that's why you'd want to be on Azalea right now. Azalea beats, I think she's 50% or higher into everyone but Dromai and Olden. So
Yeah.
there was Katsu's, there was Dash. Basically any other aggro decks, you just kind of win because you've got Red in the Ledger 3 times a game, them Codex, and you say,
Yeah.
your 2 block cards have to be thrown in front of this because you're not going to have a turn anyway. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's, yeah,
That makes sense.
anti-aggro deck.
Yeah. Quick. It's nice. And then finally, no, I'll say that's pretty much all the 5 W's is what we used to call them in the English classes. Who, what, where, when, and why. When we used to learn English, that was the questions that we can pose. But what we're going to go on to now is like your Pro Tour story, what you face and all that sort of stuff, and your deck list and everything. So first of all, how was Baltimore? How was the event? How was the experience in general?
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, I've never been to America before. That was the first time, so well, I thought it was cool. We arrived on the Wednesday night, got some pizza in a restaurant, and then went kind of straight to bed because I think we'd been up for like a day at that point.
Yeah.
With the time travel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then the next day it was the opening ceremony day, but that was in the evening, so we went to an LGS about 15-minute drive away. It was huge. I'm really jealous. Like, I think a lot of...
Which one? Because that's my metro area, so I probably know it.
I'd be struggling to remember, but there was a big shop front with all the board games and the card games and things, and then there was a back room with tables and tables.
Oh.
That doesn't really narrow it down, but
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what's up there. I don't normally go up toward Baltimore. I'm more closer to the DC, Virginia part of the metro area, but we definitely, yeah, I know a lot of those in the area.
Nice.
I can tell you it was next to, it was sort of in a, like a shopping park with rows of shops and then a massive car park just off the motorway.
Gotcha. Nice. And yeah, obviously you went, and then obviously you went to the
stuff, maybe. That
so,
sound familiar?
Sorry?
Games and stuff. Does that sound familiar?
Is it? Yeah, I think that's it.
Games and stuff. That's generic
That's
name.
a bigger one in the area for sure.
Yeah, it was really good. We went there and had a practice draft and some CC games. Just the group I travel with was from north. It was Rob Catton, his partner Lila, Matt Duggan, James Thorogood, and Jacob Hand. We were all sort of practicing together before we went, and three of us were on Azalea. There was two Katsus, and then Azaleas. So we met up with the Southampton guys and had a bit of a draft. Shamir and might have been Francesco. No, it wasn't Francesco. Anyway,
nice.
Practice draft on that day, and then we had the opening ceremony where everyone saw the new Prism and things, and
yeah,
everyone was very, very happy about seeing Prism. I was looking forward to see Chain.
Because I bought the ticket to go in. I didn't, obviously wasn't in the Pro Tour, but that was really well put together. I thought good presentations, and did you stay for the dinner and everything? Like, I thought that was pretty well done.
We didn't have dinner there because by the time we tried to get to the line, I think it was a huge line. So we just planned something else.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That was the same at Wells, wasn't it, Jim? Do you remember when everyone was like, "Oh yeah, let's get loads of pizza," and it all ran out. Like they had to go get more, didn't they?
Yeah, we were a victim of that.
We really were.
This one actually, the food was upscale. Like it was not pizza. It was like chicken breasts and fish and whatever, and it was good stuff. I agree though. Like what we did is we went and just sat at first, and then once the lines died down, we jumped up and grabbed food that way, but they did not run out. They basically kept refilling.
Nice.
Hmm.
Good.
Yeah, it was like it was catered, so it wasn't like they ordered something.
Oh wait, I think my OBS has just disconnected. Bear with me a second.
Oh yeah, the stream just dropped. It looks like.
Looks
Oh,
like
there it goes.
I think it's back on now. I'm just wait till it's gone back on. So I think we're back. I think we are back. If not, let us know. It looks like we are green light again. But yeah, that's the first time it's done that for a while. That's for sure. Typical when we haven't done this for a while. But hey ho, these things happen. Matchups of your Pro Tour story, because obviously there was. So obviously with Pro Tour, there's CC and
I don't
Draft.
like these, but otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, tell us how the matchups went for the CC portion. 'Cause obviously we're here for the Azalea content and stuff. So let us know how that went, if you remember.
Yeah, I think I do. So the first round was a turtle dash, and yeah, I won that one. It was not too bad. They had a lot of defense reactions, but it's no Olden. You can't really defend against if it like. The deck was kind of sort of built to beat Olden, and obviously it didn't go the way that I'd hoped in the fight in the top 8. But if you can beat Olden, you can beat Turtle Dash for sure. So
Nice.
that's that. And then round 2, there was a Lexi, and it was going all right, but I think I misplayed and lost the game off that because I was going to go shoot an arrow and snaps, and I think we shortcutted 2 damage. And they said, take however much. I said, okay. And then I realised, oh, wait, we've shortcutted past the attack reactions. So
Yeah.
I immediately lost after that. They played Codex when I was intended to play my Codex. So
That happened actually. Yeah. That exact interaction there actually did happen on stream as well with I can't remember what his name was, but he was playing Lexi against Mara's Dromai, and he essentially missed his. They went straight to damage calculation, so he missed his opportunity to snap. So it happened on stream as well. So it's easily done. So it's not to worry. But yeah, that's fair enough.
After that, I just took a deep breath and just tried to slow down for the rest of the games, and especially day 2.
Yeah.
But that loss put me against a Dromai in round 3, which was just horrible.
Yeah. It really is. Oh god.
Yeah.
It's like
round 4 was a Katsu. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, yeah. It's like how do you bloody beat it? I just can't figure it out. Like the Endless Arrow is obviously an MVP against Dromais, but what I really struggle with. I play a lot of Talishar casually, nowhere near to the level of Pro Tour, etc. But what I hate is the second cycle Rake the Embers when they start getting all the ash wings in, because you can't pop all of those with Endless Arrows. It's okay to like kill the big dragons every now and again when you can, but it's like a Luminaris 1-1-1-1-1-1 situation. I bloody hate it. God damn it.
Yeah. I just tend to try and set up Red and Leisure dominated and keep trying to hit that and see what I could do. I might be trying out Sleep Dart for our TNs to see if I can make sure the dragons don't have to go again. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a Red and a Ledger against Dromai, isn't it? Essentially, Sleep Dart. So yeah, fair play. Cool. Round 4. What was that?
Round 4 was Katsu from Team Poland.
Oh.
I think they have teched quite defensively, but again, it's not Olden, so you can break through.
Yeah. Nice.
Then the draft, which I 3-0'd.
Yeah.
You just play Azuri in the drafts and it seems to go well. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Day 2, same again. Azuri was we opened with draft and then went Azuri and 3-0 again.
Nice.
And then it was Lexi, which was, and then Lexi's on day 2 with all very hard opponents.
Yeah, I bet.
But I beat all the Lexis, so it was Lexi, another Lexi, or Lexi Dromai, and that was Mara Dromai. I got it to 1, but it wasn't enough.
It's never enough. Never enough against the Empress of Volcor. Yeah.
Yeah. She's a very good player.
Oh god, yeah. It's one of those as well. You think of Dromar, you think of Mara. So it's, she's that sort
Mara's
of.
been on that deck for a long time too. She plays in my local, Richmond, which is not far from me. But she shows up in a lot of the Pro Tour, not the Pro Tour, but the Pro Quest events that were near me, and was already like tuning it up and going. That was a while ago. So and even before that, she was a big if you didn't know, she was a big Prism player before Prism got banned, and then moved from Prism to Dromai, basically.
God damn that board state development! It's not flesh and blood, damn it.
Right.
Controversial take, but yeah. So and obviously your results that you got there for obviously draft and CC portions got you to top 8, which is fantastic. So well done.
Thank you.
And
you had to draft, didn't you, on the day 2?
Sorry.
You had to draft, didn't you, on day 2?
Yeah. So
who did you draft?
I drafted Azuri on both of the drafts.
On both of the drafts, okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, I tend to just start picking Azuri cards immediately. Or just pick like red Death Touch, red Ravenous Rabble, those kind of things. They go in multiple decks, but then it always sort of goes, well, Azuri's got those 3 blocks, so you kind of want 3 blocks in this draft because it's quite low power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. And obviously we saw your top 8 match against the Olden, which I thought obviously it was going really well, because obviously the sedation shots and the other things that were keeping him off the Arsenal. I thought you basically had gas the entire time until that goddamn Ranger hand, that Ranger brick, which we're all subject to. But yeah, walk us through how that happened and that game.
Yeah. So I practiced quite a bit into Oldham, online anyway, just before the event. The entire sideboard is kind of dedicated to being playable or good into Oldham. The usual strategy is I'm going to try and knock the Death Whistle or Drill Shot for 10 and dominate it and send that, kill the Rampart.
Yeah.
And then the game actually starts. But I had some awkward draws. I think I had a lot of I had 2 Drill Shots like in the first 2 hands, so I couldn't actually dominate them. And then I had my 3rd one, and I had to actually put that on the bottom.
Yeah.
So then I was just looking for the knock, and I think I didn't get anything to knock into for quite a while. But then watching it back, I had the best turn of the game where I did some Bolton shot stuff and then codexed and then drill shot for 7, and he had to take it all, and then set up a read the glide path in Arsenal.
Yeah.
Drew 4 buffs, including another read the glide path.
Yeah.
And then trying to desperately find an arrow. What's the chances you don't have an arrow in 4, and then you have cross wrap to opt, read the glide path from hand to opt, and then blind, so you got like 7 chances, and then you just don't get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often.
No. Yeah, so you basically used your cross wrap to opt, and you played the opter from hand, so you went 2 cards deep, still didn't see an arrow, and then was like, right, sod it, I'm going to activate Azalea blindly, and there was the bloody knock the whole time coming into Arsenal, and it's just like, shit, what do I do? Yeah, it's a bit of a rubbish situation, because then you play the knock from the Arsenal, you've already activated Azalea, so you can't get the bloody thing, unless you're playing Sandscar Greatbow, which was another list, which was top 8 at the calling, which is interesting. So shout out to the Card Advantage guys for cracking that. Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, and that's where it all sort of, the Ranger hands just crumble us, don't they? And we all just have to accept it, I guess, from time to time.
Yeah, it's not every game.
No.
It happens only because the game is so long and you see your entire deck, so you're most likely going to have these bad hands or these good hands, especially when you run 73 cards into Oldham.
Do you run the whole... Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing as well, like...
If only you had Drone.
Yeah, let's go. Consistent blocking. But yeah, that's one thing that you kind of can do, I guess, with Azalea, because you're churning through and seeing so much of your cards. You could run a larger deck, for argument's sake. You could probably run a larger deck than usual, because you are seeing and opting and drawing so much that you might be able to run more cards in your deck. But what is your standard deck? Obviously, we've got your deck list here, so people in the chat, you can have a look at the deck list. The link is in the description box below. Did you want to just go through this very quickly before we cap it off, like your choices and why you chose the cards and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, equipment, we tried Embrace, but I think Bullseye is just the best choice. You kind of cash in Bullseye for 7 damage anyway at some point, so
yeah,
whether you gain, I mean, you don't even have the resources for Vambrace against Olden very much.
No.
Crow's Nest, Crow's Nest just +1 to some arrows, and then sometimes you make your Deadeye into Surgical Extraction.
Yeah, pretty good.
OP.
Yeah.
Death Dealer, I didn't try any of the other bows. I would be looking into Dreadbore now.
Yeah.
Because before Pro Tour, all the Olden lists I was looking at, they had Peace of Mind and Oasis.
Yep.
And then Michael Feng shows up and he's got 7 staunch responses.
Yeah.
3 fates and 3 sinks.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot of cards that you can't block with if you have Dreadbore, so I'm not sure if that's the way to go, but Death Dealer's obviously into everyone else. It's the best bow.
Yeah, just going off the back of that as well. Yeah, card advantage obviously are the ones. I'm not sure whether you checked out that video yet, Jake, but it's definitely worth a watch. They're the ones that obviously piloted a Sandscour list to top 8 in the calling of Baltimore, and they have Sandscour and Dreadbore as their bows. Dreadbore being the Olden tech, because obviously it just makes their hands very clunky, because especially if they are using a lot of D-reacts. So I've been playing Dreadbore for so long. That's my bow of choice. Although it's, my decks are more janky, but I just think it's great. You do get inherent value off of Death Dealer for drawing like buffs and stuff off the top and playing it. But I think in certain matchups against Olden, I think Dreadbore might be the way to go. Definitely worth trying it out if you're testing a lot more than us casuals. Definitely worth giving it a go, mate. But yeah. So yeah, carrying on. So you got Death Dealer. What else we got in there?
Tunic, yeah.
Obviously,
you have a lot of run hands, so Tunic helps you out there. Don't know what else you'd run really.
Exactly.
Right.
Perch Grapplers, they're just in for Bravo.
Yeah.
Using 1 card blocker, Choke Slam, the one that comes for 8.
Yep.
And Katsu, you can stop Mask of Momentum chains. So you take the surging, block the whelming gust wave, then you stop that draw and you stop mask from triggering on the 3rd.
Yep.
Cross wrap, best equipment in the deck. Just
really is.
Change your arsenal.
Yeah.
Or figure out what you're going to draw, change what you're going to draw. Snaps, yeah, the default boots. Just if you're going to have a 2-arrow hand, or you're going to shoot your arrow like infecting shot and then snaps and then codex. It's
Gotcha.
very good.
Yeah.
Then the main deck. So Baron Bolt is just Popper, pretty much. Popper that you can actually use the buffs in the deck on. So
yep.
You would, might run some more Poppers for the RTN season, but yeah, being able to buff this is very valuable. Ball and shots, the main like gameplay pattern that I like to do is try and arsenal a ball and shot.
Yeah.
Because then if you do find a rain razors, then you can sort of ball and shot rain razors, then do your normal turn of loading an arrow, drawing a card. That's also affected, and then you can sort of get 6 value out of those rain razors.
1-2 punch, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Drill shot's mainly there because it's a 0 cost arrow, but it's super good against Rampart as well.
Gotcha.
And a lot of things like warrior equipment as well. Guardians and warriors.
They do have big fridges, don't they?
Hit by that.
Yeah, they do have big fridges.
And Lightning Strike just lets you say you have too many arrows in your hand, then you can just change one into a little bit of a buff. Just send a Lightning Strike, go again. A nice thing you can do as well is Bolt and Shot, since it's got go again, keep Lightning Strike in another card, and then choose a Lightning Strike draw, and then you just arsenal what you draw.
Yep.
It's a bit of card advantage.
Yep.
Infecting Shot just above rate, 1 for 7. Lace with Blood Rot, same again, 0 for 5. Lace with Frailties, mainly just because we don't have many more 0 for 3 buffs to run, but it's really good against Lexi, it turns out, and Katsu, so...
Yeah, it's just a quick one on that, actually. I think, like, the early lists, like, after Outsiders came out, like, people like Levi and Brody and stuff were running a lot of the Outsiders cards. Lace with Frailty is one that they didn't use. So it's interesting to see this in here, but... Yeah, as you say, it can devalue a lot of the other Ranger mirrors. It can shut off Kodachis. It shuts off the Assassin daggers. It does a lot, you know, and it's still a 0 for 3 buff, you know, which turns on all your bolt and shots and stuff. So nice to see you running all of the Lace with cards, which were definitely one of my favourites from the set for sure.
Yeah, it's quite high value. Sometimes you can save quite a lot of life out of that. Lace with Inertia. It's just another Seek and Destroy. Like, if you do want Seek and Destroy, then you might also want Lace with Inertia in the list. I cut down to 60 cards in most matchups, so it doesn't always make the cut. But Olden, I'm running everything, so you just really want to be able to get him off Arsenal and keep him off Arsenal. Yeah,
and that's what you did in that top 8 game as well. You kept him off the Arsenal for so long, which was great. So
yeah,
good stuff.
Melting Point is just on rate. The aim counter text can be mostly ignored. Sometimes it does come up, but usually if you can aim counter and play Melting Point, you've already won anyway.
Yeah,
you can destroy Kodachi or Dagger, but yeah, it's because it's a 3 block basically.
Yeah, it's like one of the reasons why Deadeye was so popular was because wasn't even because of the aim counter tech, right? It was a block 3 which buffed arrows. Deadeye's probably better because it's a yellow pitch, right? So you can pitch to death dealer, have 1 floating. But Melting Point's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's a non-attack action that blocks for 3, which is why it's great. Because you could argue that there's stuff like other things like Overflex, which costs the same and also get a reload trigger, which you can opt with the cross wrap and stuff. But the block 3 is just so important, I think. But yeah, good stuff.
Being able to block 3 just makes it so flexible. Like
exactly.
Most of the things like E-Strike, E-Strike, Melting Point, Deadeye, these kind of cards, just like when you're left with more cards than you would have expected, you like to be able to block with cards if you need to, and then you can cast them and get the benefit out of them.
Yeah.
If you are left with more cards than you would have expected.
Yeah.
Like Azalea plays so well off 2 cards, but you know, you want to be able to cast your whole hand if you don't have to block.
Yeah, definitely.
Premeditate is kind of one of the MVPs. I think it's the best buff in the deck.
Yeah. That's a good
0 for 3.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask, like right now, because you mentioned the word MVP. That's one of my questions on the docket: is what is the most valuable card in the entire deck or the entire event that was Baltimore in the CC portion? What do you think that the answer to that question is? While you're on the subject,
that's Red in the Ledger.
Oh baby,
easily
classic.
Yeah, like every game against Lexi just comes down to how many times can I cast Red in the Ledger at you, and
really,
make sure you block with everything.
Yeah, nice.
But Premeditate is definitely up there.
Yeah.
So go on.
Premeditate, the art. Eduardo was there, who created the art, and I had all of my Premeditate signed. Playmat with Premeditate on it. I'm a fan of the card just because of the art, not just that it's a really good buff card with a Ponder token.
Literally, yeah. It's my background on my computer right now.
Brilliant.
Did you off a sidetrack as well before we go on to the end of the list?
What I'm here for.
Did you pick up because Red Zone Rogue wanted you to pick up some stuff for him, didn't he? From Iswadi. Did you do that?
Absolutely, I did. I didn't want to put it out on social because it's his.
Yeah.
So I've already mailed it to him, and I assume he'll be sharing it shortly.
Nice, fantastic. Stay tuned for that then, folks. Anyway, back to the list. What's next?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I like the burger art that someone did.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, the McDonald's literally sat in a McDonald's. Yeah, I do love.
Pretty good Photoshop.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, Rabble. So it's sort of like a buff. It plays like a buff. It's a 0 for 4 usually, and sometimes going wide is more beneficial than just going tall as well.
Yeah.
And then it also has applications where then you can play it not knowing what's on top, see something that you want to dominate, and then swap into that. Hit the glide path. Yeah, just being able to opt again. Say you might not have an arsenal as well, so you sometimes it just replaces that cross wrap effect.
Definitely. Yeah.
Red and Ledger. Yeah, just you must block this kind of card against a lot of decks.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes tempo all the way back. Also, one of the best codex targets. If you have any resources or a tunic counter, you can just get that back.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, it's brilliant. And then you get the ponder as well. It's just so good. You got a tunic available. You play that. You could have even done something before you do this as well, right? You could have even shot an arrow with go again, bolt and shot, and then save the codex till the end, and then play it, and then it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Release attention. I think it's the most questionable 0-3 buff. It's there because defensive decks just want to be putting their defense reaction in arsenal, and then if you dominate something, double defense.
That was in Levi's original list, so you added that one
in. It might have come in and out of Levi's list because I think I was chatting to him, but yeah, it's. I don't know what I'd place it with though. I think it's the closest one to being playable.
I mean, you could. I guess you could. I mean, one of the another 0 for 3 is Nimbalism, isn't it? Because that will buff up Rabbles and E-strikes and everything as well, I guess, which could be okay. But I guess the evasion comes in clutch against people that are arsenaling a staunch or whatever, doesn't it? So I guess where you want that effect to matter is probably more important than buffing up other things, I imagine.
Yeah, it's hard to know how much value you get out of it unless you actually ask the other person if it. Stop them from using something. Cause,
is that
like Olden? Second.
I was going to say, is that something you do in testing as well? Because obviously, as part of like testing groups and stuff, you actually discuss it afterwards. Like, how much was this release attention really affecting your turn? You're not just looking at the value of the cards, like point per value or whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but with regards to the discussion, like, was this actually affecting your turn? Like this release attention, you have those discussions in those groups, I imagine, do you as well?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Nice.
I think it actually affects defensive Bravo and defensive Dash more than it does Olden, because Olden just Crown of Seeds whatever he's got away.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
Remorseless. It's just good against both aggro and control, because aggro wants to go wide, so whatever they'll take the 5 damage, and then they'll also take 1 for every thing that they want to do afterwards.
Punishes
It's
them.
actually really good in Azalea as well.
Yeah. Nice.
All your buffs now cost you 1 life.
Yeah.
And then the defense reaction text, just same with release attention. Just anything that just says makes it a bit more awkward to block. Super good.
Yeah. Nice.
Sedation shot was mainly for Olden, because you want to be able to keep him off Crown of Seeds.
Yep, definitely.
It's also good against the Wizards and Bolting, because Bolting wants to,
store a Lumina.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be relevant as well, in a few months, Lumina Go Boomer, here we go.
Yeah, I'll never doubt the LSS's ability to make a hero good or the best.
Oh, I know, right?
Again.
It's going to be fun to see what happens.
Yeah. Seek and Destroy is the same again.
Yeah.
All the Trap was just like a last minute inclusion. So we were actually talking about this on the Thursday. We had to submit our deck list on the midnight of Thursday. And that was the Down and Dirty before. This is another popper.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it was just the last minute. Like, I don't want to lose to Olden because of not having Boulder Trap, so I'll just put that in. And then I didn't face any. Rob Catton was on the same list, and we chose Boulder Trap, and he actually faced 2 Oldims. Actually, Boulder Trapped them, both of them, and actually won one of the games, probably because of the Rampart being hit. So
yeah, nice, because the interaction is they attack with Titan's Fist, which is buffed because of the fact that they've pitched a card. I can't remember the exact text, but because of that, it turns on the Boulder Trap. So then you can put the -1 counter on their Rampart, which just turns it off for the rest of the game, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
If they pitch a card with cost greater than 3 or greater, I think is the text. And yeah.
Yeah, nice bit of spice there. Good choice.
Yeah, Codex is, you would definitely always include this. It's just part of the reason to play Ranger or Assassin at the moment. Just quite a silly card.
Oh yeah, definitely a silly card. Absolutely.
Yeah. Deadeye, just yellow block 3, and then a buff if you have the cards that you can spend.
Yeah.
The aim card text, if you can use this, is the best aim card text in the deck. So just choose a card from their hand.
Get rid of it. Yeah.
And your arrow will be dominated, so they can't block with everything. And then say, whatever red they wanted to cast on their turn, just take that away.
Yeah.
Or blue if they're full reds. Rain Razors is quite a good combo with Bolt and Shot and Codex, because you'll, as I mentioned this before, you'll go wide with Rain Razors and Bolt and Shots, and then you'll finish with a Codex, and then you'll have like 6 damage from the Rain Razors, which is super above rate.
Yeah.
It's also yellow. Yeah, like a good yellow buff. So sort of pitch stacks itself. You don't need to think too hard about it. You'll eventually draw into sort of blue and yellow Bolt and Shots and Codex and Rain Razors, and that'll be quite a big turn for a second cycle.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about this application. Obviously, what you said there is probably of much more value, but it can still also be used to force like a non-hit effect through as well, can't it? Because it's instant speed. So I guess that's also another application as well that can be quite good sometimes, especially if you're going against aggro and you want to force through a bloody Remorseless or Red and Ledger.
Yeah, that comes up quite a lot actually, because you don't need to think about second cycle against like Lexi or Katsu. You just sort of have Rain Razors your last card. You can say, I'm going to Arsenal this, but if they full block, they might have, say, a Seek and Destroy on the arrow, and you kind of expect them to be wanting to set something up with the Arsenal, so you're just going to push it over the top, get that on hit through, maybe get a Blood Rot through as well.
Yeah.
It's like, that's more damage than just the 2. The face of it is 2 damage, but the actual on hits are greater than that.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
The last 2 cards are Knock the Death Whistle. So all the blues block 3, which is key. And then Knock the Death Whistle, just so good against aggro, because you're just going to be finding a red in a ledger.
Yeah. Nice.
And Spire Sniping, the last card, just a blue arrow that is not really a blue So it's a great arsenal target because in the turn you can flip that at the start of your turn. Sorry, change it into one of the 2 top cards, or you could load it and it'll, if it shows you a red arrow, then it's a blue that changed itself into a red.
Wow.
It's just very good.
Interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's one of those cards that goes ridiculously deep, doesn't it? Because if you've got it in your arsenal, you flip it across wrap first, you resolve that, have a look, and then the thing triggers again. So it's just like one of those things, again, that you want to...
basically to find an arrow.
Yeah. And in those matchups where you just want to find the certain arrow, like in aggro, as you just said, it's a lovely old job, really. Yeah. But speaking of finding arrows, before we close it off, they're obviously... Again, if you haven't watched the Card Advantage Sandscour Great Bow video, I can see there's still people in chat, so by all means go over to that video and have a look, 'cause it's very good. And Jake, when you get the time, I know obviously you're looking at Ranger a lot, so it's definitely worth a look. But Memorial Ground was one thing that we always used to try and work as like the OG Azalea players a year or so ago, because that card basically just said, put something from your graveyard on top of your deck, which allowed you to then dominate it if your arsenal was online. So... did you ever look at that? I know it doesn't block for anything, but it's still a sort of form of recursive arrow abuse, essentially.
Yeah, I actually did play leading up to Outsiders. I was playing Azalea in my armories just to get the mechanical practice in.
Yeah.
With the old cards, and there was 2 Memorial Grounds in the list. It's sort of like a knock the death whistle for a card that you've already played. But yeah, the lack of block is what kills it a bit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, cool. Well, that's it really. Obviously, the list that we've just gone through is in the description box below, so you can go and check it out. And thanks for sharing that with us. You know, obviously, it could change over the next couple of months, but that is the list that got you to where you got to in Baltimore, right? That list there.
Yeah, this is the exact list, and the matchups are in the sideboards for each hero are there.
Oh, lovely. But yeah, no, that's.
If we have just a quick second, I'd just like your quick take on how do you feel about Jacob's Sandscour list? Like, it obviously looks a little harder to play, but what's your take on Sandscour and New Horizon?
I haven't actually seen the list, but I've heard talk about it, and it seems interesting. Definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
Then you got the barbed undertow, which was, if you could encounter it, it's the most powerful arrow that came out in the new set. So if you can make that work, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, that's one.
I think it's just exciting. There may be 2 builds, and so then opponents don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, that's I made a video on that exact topic the other day. As like, you know,
oh, did you?
Yeah, like obviously this game is an eternal format, right? So the more support that comes out, like Dynasty, for instance, there was a card for Runeblade that cared about the color of your pitch. Like what? Is there going to be a deck that cares about just pitching a certain color? You know, and it's great because obviously the more sort of support we get and the more sort of archetypes we get access to, it is going to come down to the fact where you sit down against a Dory and you think, oh, right, bloody hell, is this Dory Battle Axe or is this Dory Dawnblade? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So it's got pros and cons because, you know, how does a meta evolve around something where a match against a hero could be 3 versions of that hero? You never know. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops because... yeah, there are now essentially 2 valid ways, because the results are there, to take Azalea. Death Dealer, 1-2 punch interaction like we've just discussed here, or the Sandscour list, which is good as well, because you can squeeze all the value out of the encounter stuff. Deadeye is always turned on. Barbed Undertow is a red in the ledger for Guardians, because they can't pitch blue cards. You know, there's loads of other applications for Sandscour, so definitely, if you're watching this now in the future, and you haven't checked it out, go and have a look, because it could be another viable option as well. So
I think Card Advantage YouTube channel did a deck tech just the other day on it as well.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, definitely go and check it out. But saying that, it didn't top 8 the Pro Tour, did it? Way.
Right.
But yeah, thanks very much for joining us today, Jake. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for your insights and your experiences. And
Thank you.
That's all right, no probs. And before we go, where can people find you if they would like to? If you'd want to share that.
Basically, Twitter.
Yeah.
To Jake _ Warburton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I can put the link in the chat.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sweet. I'll add that to the description box. But people that are watching this can actually see it because it's on the little things here, our boxes. There is a Twitter tag there, and I did get it correct. It's Jake _ Warburton. So I did get that correct. Lovely. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And as always, I've been Az from Go Again Gaming. This is on my channel, so I don't really have to say anything. Jim, where can people find you as well? I'll throw it over to you as well, mate.
Yeah, no, for sure. You can mostly find me on Twitter at FabTCGcards. You can also visit my shop, please, at fabtcgcards.com. Get a code from Az if you support his Patreon, actually.
Nice. Cheers, mate.
And otherwise, yeah. I do dabble in Facebook, and I have a YouTube channel myself that's pretty inactive.
Nice. Fantastic. But it's always good. It's always good fun coming on the Azalea Cult, and obviously it was a good, nice little episode to delve into the first person to really make top 8. Well, there has been other top 8s, but in a pro tour at that level,
Pro tour, yeah.
is quite a special occasion. So thanks for coming on to this show. Are you booked in to do any other shows at all? Any other podcasts?
Push the Point wanted to talk to me, and I'm filming that later.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Another UK-based podcast as well. And it's good. Yeah. Another thing to shout out as well. The first Azalea person to get to the Pro Tour top 8 is a UK. Wahey. Fantastic. But clearly we don't give a crap about the coronation because we're doing this right now, right? Anyway, let's not get into that bit of politics for you before we close it off. But thanks very much for your time today, Jake. And we'll do Azalea Cult all over again, speaking about something else in the future, and whatever that may be. But thanks very much. We'll see you soon. Cheers, folks.
No, thanks. Been great.
Awesome.
See you.
Cool. We are off the mic.